CalDigit's back with their brand new dock for Thunderbolt 5, and it's called the Thunderbolt Station 5 or TS5. But they're also dropping the bigger brother right away, and that is the TS5 Plus. That's two Thunderbolt 5 docks at two different price points, which gives you the option to get the one that best fits your needs. And for me, that is the TS5 Plus. It gives me everything I have been wanting in a Thunderbolt 5 dock, including my personal favorite port, which I'll talk about in just a moment. CalDigit is sponsoring this video, but I have been waiting for this TS5 Plus since Intel first announced Thunderbolt 5 back in 2023. With 20 ports of connectivity, this thing is ready to help you get stuff done. So what I want to do is walk you through what you get with the new TS5 Plus, but first I want to talk about what's new with Thunderbolt 5. Thunderbolt 5 is about more. You get more with Thunderbolt 5 than you did with Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 3, like more speed. Now you get 80 gigabits per second of bandwidth, symmetrical forwards and backwards, compared to just 40 gigabits with Thunderbolt 4. That also comes with a faster 64 gigabit per second PCI Express, which means you can have faster SSDs and you can connect more accessories at the same time. Then there's bandwidth boost, which means you can bump that 80 gigabits per second to a display all the way up to 120 gigabits for multiple displays or multiple high refresh displays and still have 40 gigabits down for data. With Thunderbolt 5, you can get up to 240 watts of power output to a host device like a computer or a tablet. And finally, you can get up to 5 devices daisy-chained off a single Thunderbolt 5 port. So that's the basics of Thunderbolt 5. Now let's talk more about the TS5 Plus specifically and start with the accessories that come with it. Inside the box with the TS5 Plus, you're going to be getting this black braided Thunderbolt 5 cable. This is a nice high quality cable and it allows up to 240 watts of power delivery. This is for connecting your TS5 Plus to your laptop or tablet or other host device. You're also going to be getting these rubber feet, which just snap right onto the bottom fins here, so you can actually use the device, the TS5 Plus, horizontally if that's what you prefer. You're also going to find a rather large 330 watt power brick, and it will become obvious later in the video why you want so much power. Design-wise, it follows the classic language of other CalDigit docks. You get a full, solid, hefty aluminum brick of a device that is covered in these fins, which act as heat sinks to actually pull power away from the inside, so you don't need a loud, noisy fan. As I mentioned before, you can use the rubber pads on the bottom to set the dock horizontally, or you can use the rubber pad on the bottom to set it vertically, so you can orient this however it fits best on your desk. You may have noticed that the shade is a bit darker than we've seen on previous CalDigit docks, like the space gray or silver that we've seen before. Now we get space black, and I have to say, it looks really nice. And just for size comparison, if you are coming from a TS4, it is slightly larger than the TS4 in all dimensions. And now onto the ports, and as I mentioned earlier, there are 20 ports of connectivity on the TS5 Plus. That's insane. All right, let's start off with USB ports, and there are 10 gigabit per second USB ports on the TS5 Plus. You get 3 in the front, and you get 7 in the back. That's enough ports for everything, every accessory, every dongle that you're going to need to connect to your computer. And it can easily handle multiple 10 gigabit per second USB SSDs on the TS5 Plus at the same time. That's right, the TS5 Plus is the only Thunderbolt 5 dock with dual USB controllers, so you can actually connect multiple high-speed data devices at the same time without interfering with each other. You can have the business SSD in the front and the party SSD in the back and run them both at the same time. Along with the 7 USB ports on the back of the TS5 Plus, you also get separate ports for audio in and out. You get DisplayPort 2.1, 2 downstream Thunderbolt 5 ports that also support DisplayPort 2.1. You get the host connection port, which is in the rear for better cable management, and you get my favorite port right here, which is the 10 gigabit Ethernet connection. I've been waiting for this port to be on a Thunderbolt dock for so long, and it's finally here, and I'm so excited. And it's PCIe, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. On the front side of the TS5 Plus, you have the easily accessible headphone mic jack, and you get dual SD micro SD card readers. And yes, just like previous CalDigit docks, both of these card readers are accessible and readable at the exact same time, so you can pull data off of both cards at the same time without having to wait or eject one. Plus, I really love the spring-loaded card readers because it's just so much better than the grinding of other non-spring-loaded devices. So, 20 ports on the TS5 Plus. That's enough ports for connecting everything you need, like dual displays, keyboard and mouse, external storage, speakers, microphones, webcams, audio controllers, and anything else you need to get your stuff done, and you'll probably still have ports left over. And speaking of displays, the TS5 Plus is very flexible. Remember that bandwidth boost I was talking about a moment ago where it can take up to 120 gigabits of bandwidth just for displays? Well, that allows you to get up to dual 8K displays at 60 Hertz, or even dual 4K displays at up to 240 Hertz, or dual 1080 displays at a crazy 500 Hertz. Of course, it all depends on what your computer supports, and if you have Windows, you might be able to get up to triple 4K 144Hz displays. Now, the speed increase of Thunderbolt 5 also increases the speed of the PCI Express inside up to 64 gigabits per second, which means faster SSDs. And by faster, I mean a lot faster. Like, I've seen speeds up to 6,000 megabytes per second. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy this project file over to a Thunderbolt 5 SSD. This project file is 77 gigabytes. It's made up of big files and small files, video files, and other little things. And it's gonna copy over to this SSD in just 25 seconds. That's insane. So if you need to transfer a lot of data frequently, then a Thunderbolt 5 SSD is going to save you a lot of time. Remember my favorite port, that 10 gigabit Ethernet port? Well, CalDigit actually put that onto the PCI Express lane to give us the fastest speeds possible through that port. So using the utility called iPerf to test the actual network connection between two devices in my home network, which is 10 gigabits, you can see I'm getting basically a maxed out 9.4 gigabits per second transfer speed between two devices on my network. That's faster and more stable than the previous 10 gig Thunderbolt adapters I was using previously. And testing out a file transfer from my MacBook to my NAS over the 10 gigabit network, you can see I'm getting transfer speeds in the 800s and into the 900s of megabytes per second over the network. That's fast enough for multicam 4K video editing like I'm doing right here. And finally, the upgraded PCI Express speeds also enable faster eGPU support for computers and other devices that support them. Now remember that 330 watt power brick I mentioned at the beginning of the video? Well, there's good reason for it, starting with the 140 watts of power delivery on the host port. This port alone can offer up to 140 watts to your laptop, tablet, or whatever host device you have, including a fully spec'd out, fully pushed 16-inch MacBook Pro. You can push that thing as hard as it possibly can, running all the CPU and GPU, and you won't lose any power because of that 140 watt charging. Both downstream Thunderbolt 5 ports can offer up to 36 watts to power a device. Each of the 10 USB ports can offer up to 7.5 watts, and actually the front one here can offer up to 36 watts, which is enough to fully power a new spec'd out MacBook Air or an iPad or an iPhone or whatever you need. Now, some of the magic of CalDigit docks is that you can actually use 100% of the power of every one of these ports all at the same time. Some other docks out there will actually drop down the power of the host port as needed if you have additional things connected. But not with CalDigit, that 330 watt power brick powers everything. Plus, it will continue to provide power and charge devices as needed, even when your host port is not connected. So that covers just about everything about the TS5 Plus dock, but I did want to mention a couple things that are different on the regular TS5. With the TS5, you're still going to get 15 ports of connectivity, including dual SD card readers, 2 USB ports, and a headphone jack on the front. On the backside, you're going to get dual audio in and out, 3 more USB ports, and you're going to get 3 downstream Thunderbolt 5 ports. You might notice that there's no DisplayPort connection on the back of the regular TS5. That has been replaced with another Thunderbolt 5 port. The host connection port is still 140 watts of power delivery, and instead of 10 gigabit Ethernet, you get 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. You get a bit of a smaller power adapter at 240 watts, which gives you 15 watts of downstream Thunderbolt power. You also get 7.5 watts on most of the USB ports and 20 watts on this front USB-C port, which is plenty to power a phone, a tablet, or even an unused MacBook. With all that said, the TS Plus is going to run $499, and stock has run out, but more stock is expected in early June. The regular TS5 is expected to go on sale in late June with a price of just $369. So that is the TS5 Plus and a little bit about the TS5. These are the docks that I have been waiting for, and they are exactly as I had hoped. If you have any questions about them, let me know in the comments down below. If you're trying to get your hands on one of these TS5 Pluses, definitely keep an eye on CalDigit's website or check my link in the description so you can get one as soon as they're available again. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.